Good evening, everybody. This is Lady Rage. I'm gaming as usual.
This is Tyne Cyanotch.
I am Sterzy.
And this is Koko.
Alright, in today's show, we're going to be discussing consoles. Oh, hold on, I got an echo because I didn't mute everything the third, fourth time. Talking about consoles, going to be talking about controllers and gizmos, along with some other E3 news, and it's an infamous loop all the way down the Twitch page. So, but first thing I wanted to touch on was this article here. It was on IGN, and then I covered it on our stream this morning when I streamed some. E3, I guess it happened yesterday. The cops got called to shut down Ouya. If you guys don't know, Ouya tried to get into E3. They were not allowed in. They couldn't get the passes. They were turned down to get permission to even be part of E3. So, Ouya, the group there, Julie Ehrman is the founder of the console. And we all know how they've been thinking outside the box. That's how this console came to be in the first place. They thought outside of consoles. So, they decided go around the whole E3 thing and rent the lot across the street from the Los Angeles Convention Center and showcase their stuff there. Well, the ESA got word of this and rented out the space in front of Ouya's display and parked semi-trucks in it. Ehrman felt it was an attempt to block people from noticing the Ouya's presence, so she went ahead and they rented the lot in front of those trucks and put a bunch of their signs and posters and all that stuff pointing people to the Ouya. Well, I guess ESA decided they still weren't happy and called the Los Angeles Police Department in there. So after they put the posters up and stuff, Los Angeles Police Department showed up, asked to see the company's permits. After determining everything was in order, the cops left without taking any action. Irma feels that Ouya is being unfairly targeted due to a decision to go around the ESA to attend E3 on its own terms. Ehrman and the rest of the Ouya team intend to tackle the second day of E3 by increasing their street presence. She also reached out to ESA in an attempt to resolve the dispute, but she has not heard anything back yet. When asked how she'll react if ESA continues putting pressure on Ouya, Ehrman responded, "I have 10. If 10 more trucks show up, we'll come up with another idea. I have a few up my sleeve." So they're ready. They're prepared. I just find it funny that this company's thinking outside the box the whole time, and they get the cops called on them and everything else, and they're still within their limits, so they're good for them.
I don't think it's cool that they're not following the rules, though. Like, you're trying to show that you're doing things in good taste and all that stuff, but there is obviously this association that's set in place, which is generally designed to help protect people within the industry, and then they just go around their backs and stuff like that. It's kind of a debatable situation, I guess, but I don't think that obviously they were within their rights to do that, but it's still kind of not things.
Cover me, I'm reloading.
Well, I think they achieved exactly what they wanted to. I mean, negative press is still press. They've got us talking about them at the top of our show, so obviously it worked. Yeah, no, obviously it's not an ideal situation, but you gotta get noticed, and you've got the big boys like Microsoft and Sony that are probably the reason why they couldn't get in the first place. Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Gentlemen, excuse me. Can you please turn down the volume, honey?
Of the game? Yeah.
Yes.
but there was also a. I was turning on the master volume.
And he said the voice needs to go up.
Whose voice?
Ours, apparently. He says voice gain volume too loud, and he says much better. Never mind.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, you're right. Negative feedback out there, but I think Oya's main concern is they tried to do everything the right way, and they couldn't get in. So they were like, okay, well, because this is the biggest event for our industry right now, and all these people are in this building, and there's all these fans that want to check out this stuff, but they aren't allowed access because they're not media or whatnot. We'll go one step further than E3 and put it right outside E3, where everyone's going to be hanging out and stuff anyways, and people are going to be trying to talk to the press and stuff as they're coming out to get little tidbits of information. Oya's like, we'll just put our booth out there and let everyone play it.
Well, you know, the way I look at it is that the people, the bigger companies inside of E3 are just afraid of Oya because Oya is thinking outside of the box and came up with something totally different. I've been watching Oya for some time now, and I really think that the item that they made, the console they made, is really pretty cool.
Yeah, it does seem like a really great idea, and I'm sure it'll have at least some success behind it. They're coming in at, they said $100 price point.
Yep,
Yeah.
$99.99.
Yeah. That's extremely affordable for many people, and considering the fact that it's an open platform, it's going to have a following, and I'm glad for them. You know, they're getting what they want. You know, they're trying to provide people an experience that many people can enjoy, especially at a price point like that. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the level of power that you see with the Xbox and PlayStation. And with some of the things we saw Wii show off yesterday, it looks like they're going to start kind of raising their bar a little bit finally.
Well, it may not be, like you said, as big as the Xbox take off like that, but at least now people who can't afford the Xbox and can only afford the games on their phones will be able to play them a little bit easier and get better types of games on their phones and see it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree that that's a great idea, and I like that one of their big goals for creating the Ouya was to show that consoles are not dead. And I think that they have proven that.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about Ouya being open source, of course. People are afraid of the hacking that might happen, this and the other thing. But because it's open source, we're going to see a lot more games coming to it because everyone and their brother can sit down, group of high school students or even middle school students, sit down, discuss a game, and start working on it and get it out there. Just like there was a 12-year-old, I think it was in the news last year or something, created a game for an app game for his mom's smartphone, and she liked it so much they put it on, forget what app store they put it on, but it was 99 cents each, and he made $250,000 in the first 2 months.
Wow.
It's like that sort of thing is going to happen a lot more with the Ouya, and now that PlayStation has announced that they're going to have a developer section on theirs to where people can just go into their PlayStation 4 and develop games and stuff. It's on PlayStation 4 now too, so.
Well, and there was mention of it on Xbox One as well.
Well, let's not forget the Ouya is not a little. It's got some nice things in it. I mean, it's running the Android operating system right off the bat. So I mean, lots of people already know that system. I know most of my friends and family all have Android-based phones. It's just the ideal situation to have, and it's got a quad-core processor in this box. So, I mean, there's not going to be too much that they're going to be able to throw at this thing that it's not going to be able to do.
Yeah, it'll definitely have some tech backing it, and they also said they plan on having new builds available every year. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
And as far as hacking goes, I'm sorry to bring it back up, but Sony gets hacked, and being one of the people who had to deal with that, it just goes to prove even the big names can get hacked.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, everyone can get hacked. It don't matter who you are.
Well, I don't think Sony thought anyone would hack them. They figured, heck, they're gaming. Why would anyone want to hack that? But I guess that somebody there dropped the ball and forgot that they were collecting credit cards for their premium network, I guess. I don't know.
Blood Glazer says, my only problem with Oya is already obsolete in comparison to phones launching with it.
He is right, actually. This is something that we really should touch on. We are seeing phones launching with quad cores now. And these phones are also running with a lot of power. The HTC One, that phone is amazing all around.
Yeah, but see, here's my thing, though. Yes, these phones are launching a lot better than Oya is going to be launching. But these phones, when they're launching, cost a heck of a lot more than the Oya does. I mean, there's a reason the Oya's $100, and these new phones are, some of them go up to $400 or $500.
Sure. Yeah. But they are subsidized. I mean, Oya's not going to be. Honestly, at that price, it wouldn't have to be. But they are going to have some people with with pretty robust phones that they're going to have to compete with. They're going to say, well, I've gone down to Verizon or wherever, and they've got me, this phone. More than likely, the games will be ported over since it'll be running on Jelly Bean anyway. So why do I need to buy this system? What's the purpose if everything can be done with my phone that I currently already have?
Yeah.
Dr. Sung says that the Oya doesn't need a battery, and Blood Glacier says, I mean, obviously, it's a gotta get in that $100 somehow, but I can't help but feel they are selling themselves short by doing that. Also, early impressions seem that the Oya has very poor support and functionality from those that already have their hands on it.
Now, I will agree with that because I've seen news reports and stuff of people talking about their customer support there, and yeah, they were not too happy with the customer support.
Well, it's supposed to launch here later this month, right? What is it, 25th
Those
or
that
something, I believe?
Those that participated in the Kickstarter already have theirs.
Yeah, people got it on the 4th of this month.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that's really concerning. Like, okay, yeah, sure, it's $100, but if what's behind it isn't really worth it,
okay,
that $100 just pays for the tech.
Now, with those phones, though, are you going to be able to have a controller with them? Are you going to be able to hook them up to your TV to play them?
Actually,
because blind
with a
people
lot of
like
people,
Lady Rage need it.
Say what?
I say because blind people like Lady Rage actually need to hook it up to the TV to play.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to be able to do that. I mean, your phones currently, the older tech, can absolutely hook up through the mini HDMI. You've got Bluetooth support for for controllers, or you can also hook up your PlayStation controllers. I'm almost positive I've seen some Xbox controllers as well hooked up. So yeah, you're not going to have any issue.
Wait, if I'm going to hook my Xbox controller up to my phone.
There's through some adapters and stuff that connect to your phone and stuff that can read that. There's all kinds of stuff going into it.
So I'm going to have to go and download even more stuff into a smart memory, which would be more inconvenient than just going and spending that $100 and having it all at once. My opinion.
Well, you've got to have a phone, and you don't necessarily have to have a third-party gaming system. So I think that's probably what most people are going to think. Hey, I've already got the HTC or whatever, and why do I also need this if they can both do the same thing? And I think the Ouya is only boasting 1 gig of actual RAM, so that might be an issue as well.
Now, with the phones, am I going to be able to play the type of games that Ouya says that we can play with them? Because it's supposed to be able to get, like, combat games on it now.
I can already play games like first-person shooters and online multiplayer shooters. I can already play that on my my Razer Max or my Samsung Galaxy Tab. So, we're already seeing games that they're boasting for the console on our mobile devices.
Yeah, there's no reason to believe that it won't be. I mean, if it's running Android 4.1 like the specs claim it is, yeah, there's no reason why they shouldn't work on all Android 4.1 or better operating systems.
I mean, we all know that the graphics aren't going to be nowhere near as good as the big names. But at the same time, do we really want them to be? Because technically, we're used to seeing the crappy graphics on the phones anyways, so...
Well, and that's another thing. Even the mobile devices, you're starting to see the visuals improve more and more and more as the gaming engines that are being utilized. We're seeing Unreal Engine games coming onto our mobile devices, and Unreal Engine is known for being one of the most gorgeous-looking engines out there. But that is another thing. I don't think you're going to see games looking like they are on Xbox One or PS4 on your Ouya or your mobile devices.
No, and no one's actually looking for those type of graphics. I think your casual gamers that are going to gravitate towards an Ouya, they're not looking for graphics. They're looking for gameplay. They're looking for the release of actually being able to play a game.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I think that's going to have a more of the really casual crowd. You're not going to see You're not going to see core and hardcore players on the Ouya and stuff.
Now, we've discussed the Ouya. We've discussed its specs. Have you guys seen the controllers for it yet? Because I was looking earlier, and they should have had a bunch of different pictures for the controller. Oh, this could be it. This could be it. And it was like nothing was actually confirmed about what the controller actually looks like for the Ouya.
There are actual pictures of the controllers, and
yeah.
I'm gonna go out and say they kind of look ugly. They don't look comfortable, and that's the thing. When you're talking about controllers, I want something that's comfortable. If you're saying you want me to play your games for a few hours, well, I want to be comfortable while doing it.
But for its first time being out, I think that they did a pretty good job. I mean, in my personal opinion, the PS3 controllers aren't any good. They're not comfortable.
Oh, no. By no means am I saying the PlayStation controllers are comfortable. They are not. But, when you're talking about, like, the Xbox 360 controllers, those things they're amazing.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
And I want, like I say, I want controllers that are comfortable, something that I can actually use. Now, the one thing that I do like that the Ouya did is the sticks, how they're not on the same level. I don't know why, but for some reason, that is uncomfortable. People say, well, it's symmetrical. Your hands are symmetrical. Well, yeah, but they're not quite exactly. You have a dominant hand and stuff like that, and that really comes into play when it comes to ergonomics.
I agree. It does look like the handle, the grip part, it's going to be too small and too a little uncomfortable, but it looks like it has a better design than what the PS does at all. It looks like it will fit in your hand better than what the PS Freeze, of course, will.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that exact same statement. I think most people that game for an extended period of time with their PS controllers, they do not like them. And I think a lot of that was the sentiment when most people were talking about leaving the Xbox One for various reasons. They wanted to know, is there a way to use their Xbox controller on the PlayStation 4, just because the gameplay with that controller is just egregious.
Yeah, and Blood Glacier actually mentioned the new controllers about if I don't know if you guys have noticed or if you've really actually got a good look at them. They have redesigned the controller for the PlayStation 4. Now, I personally am really glad for that change. It does look way more comfortable. But I want to know if it really is, because it looks a lot more comfortable, but is it really? Because it does kind of still have that weird design from before.
To me, it looks like the grips on the left and right side there are a little bit smaller around, so it'd be easier to grip. And it looks like the top is definitely, or it's definitely a larger controller than before, as far as from if you're holding it down like you normally would between you and away from you. However, like you're saying, it does look uncomfortable, and I know several people, like you were saying, were asking before about switching from Xbox 360 to the PS4. They were talking about, well, how can I get a better controller for the PS4, this and the other thing. And there was actually some companies start popping up that would take the shell of the 360 controller and rewire it with the PlayStation 3 controller to make it work with the PS3. I don't know if there's still some out there, but
I could deal with that. If somebody could do that, then I might switch.
now I don't think they'll be able to do that with these new systems, because PlayStation 4's controller, from what I've seen, it's got a screen on it. It's got a little bit different button layout, but still pretty much the essential 4 buttons, 2 sticks, and then your D-pad.
Now you see the D-pad's completely in the wrong spot. If they could move that D-pad down, it would make it more sensible.
Well, you got to think too, this is the generic controller that comes with the system. And then you got all these different controller companies that come out, these third-party controller companies that say, hey, look, we have aftermarket controllers for you, and they're designed a little bit differently.
Now, Blood Glacier says that they're 20% larger from the look. Do you think so?
You know, I think it's really hard to tell. Seeing it with that person holding it, it looks like it might, I don't know. I guess it doesn't look too much bigger. I would kind of want something a little bit larger than that. But really one of the big things for me, along with the size and comfortability that it carries, is how sturdy is it?
I don't know.
Because I don't know if you guys have played on the PS3s and PS2s and stuff, those controllers are really flimsy. I can feel them about ready to break. And that's really one of the big things. I mean, when you're asking $60 for a controller, it should not break by holding on to it.
No. I'm afraid when I played on my great nephew's PS3 and I was doing regular Black Ops, I was afraid because when I get mad, I kind of like squeeze it a lot. And I felt like I was about to break it. And I'm not that strong. But I felt like it would break in my hands. And Glacier says, glad they didn't go the route of the original Xbox controller.
The Duke.
Yeah,
yes.
the Duke
Yes.
was huge.
You could eat off that thing. It was so big.
And then
no gamer will ever forget about it.
the Xbox One controller does look bigger than the 360 controller. Uh,
Actually, there should be a comparison side by side with the 360 and
yeah, I
Xbox
was
One.
looking for that, but I couldn't
They
find
actually
it right
really
now,
don't
so.
look bigger.
I was going to say, they've actually put the battery pack in there differently this time, so it should be one smooth unit, where before that pack looked like you were loading in some shotgun shells or something. It was so large and bulky, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the big improvements. They said 40 improvements in this controller. And
yeah, well,
go on.
No, I was gonna mention the big one was the response on the actual trigger.
Yes.
It's about time they've actually did that and made it to where it felt like a trigger and not just a pushable button like the XYAB.
Yep.
So yeah, that was definitely an excellent addition that they've added.
Yeah, the new impulse trigger is what they're calling it, and it's supposed to give you a response. So, and there was actually an interview with a guy who actually got to someone at IGN. He got to try out Forza.
Yeah, I think that's this one right here. The interview up here.
Yep. Yeah, I think, and he was talking about how even when you're, pulling your left trigger for the brakes, you can really feel like the brakes are catching, and the more you pull in, the more the brakes apply. And this is something that I agree. It's in games today. Even though the 360 controller's triggers feel amazing, I love the nice spring back, but it still has a threshold where it gets to this point and bam, it fires the signal. But with these, the more you pull, the more it applies. This is stuff that is going to be amazing for next gen. I'm excited to see what kind of games we get to see that utilize this technology.
Now, you're talking about the triggers and stuff. This is something that I've been talking about with my friends, even when I was in the Army, and back when America's Army first came out, I was in a group there and we talked about it, because some of the people that played it with controllers, and we discussed the fact that how cool it would be to have the triggers like the trigger pull of a gun, where you don't know when it's going to go off. It's the same amount of force. You got to squeeze it, not jerk it like you see these dang kids do nowadays when they're playing and goofing off guns and stuff. It's that precision tune to match a weapon. And we even got as far as talking about you could go into the settings and change it to precision just by naming off one of the guns. Like AK, okay, it's gonna be this much, then it'll fire this much of a pull. When you let go, this is the spring back amount. M16, M4, and we went on and on. And we were thinking, in fact, I was talking with one of them this morning about this, because they were talking about the response trigger on the Xbox One controller. And we were thinking, well, they have the technology now to do exactly what we were talking about 8-9 years ago. Can we start seeing it with this system?
Actually, I think we will definitely soon, because I know there was some talk about some other games. I know Sniper Ghost Warrior 2, kind of started trying to do that with the current gen tech. But, obviously with that threshold, and then it fires a signal. Now you'll start to, I'm sure you'll definitely be able to see more games like that, where if you really have that precise squeeze of the trigger, you'll start seeing some more stuff like that. And I don't think we'll see it right away. That's something we'll probably see maybe starting next year.
Because I know a lot of the what was that? There was an arcade game that was real big in all the arcades that actually had the sniper scope and everything on the rifle, and it applied that technology, and they had it in there. That was 2006 is when we started seeing it, and they had one there at Fort Knox where I was stationed, and it was one of the first places they put it in just for us soldiers to try it out and give feedback. And we were going through the levels, when you'd pick up a different weapon, the trigger adjustment would automatically take effect with that weapon as soon as you pick it up. And we thought that was the coolest thing. And now we may or may not be seeing it in consoles.
Well, I think we all can agree. As a PC gamer, the mouse and the keyboard is still going to be king. I don't care what they come up with as far as triggers or whatever. Give me a mouse and keyboard any day, and I'll show you a real some real kill shots. So I don't know, but I digress.
My Razer Naga and my Razer keyboard and my Razer headset. Yeah, I'm set.
Oh man, you're not a Razer fanboy, are you?
No, just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Right. Everyone's got to be a fanboy about something.
I just think the quality of their products is great.
We'll debate about that later. No, hey, everyone's got their thing. Everyone's got issues with everything, and and that's exactly it. There are those people out there that just want their mouse and keyboard. That's what they want. And then there are those people that they are looking for a controller.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. Controllers are great in other aspects, but when it comes time to shoot, I just, that precision is just not there. And you know what? Honestly, I think I see that here in the chat as well. I would love to see the consoles integrate maybe a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, or wireless keyboard and mouse. I don't see why they haven't done that already. Merge the two, make people.
Actually, they have, and it's listed here. I found a chart that goes over the pros and cons of each and the features in each, even price and everything. But the ones that have the Bluetooth technology is, of course, the PlayStation 4, and I think it's the Wii U. Let me look. We use the blue line, so where did I go? Yeah, Bluetooth is on the Wii U and the PlayStation 4, but not the Xbox One.
Well, and that's the thing. And honestly, I wouldn't go as to say Bluetooth keyboards and stuff. Bluetooth isn't really what people think it is. It's not as great as people think. But the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One have USB 3.0 ports. A lot of the keyboards we get, if you're a true PC gamer, you're using wired keyboards and wired mice, just because we all know it's a lot more responsive than you would see on a wireless setup.
Absolutely.
So, and actually, the PS3 does have some support for mouse and keyboard. In some parts, I do see it on the Xbox 360 as well. Maybe we will see that open up a little bit more, and I think some of that is really just up to the developers.
Blood Glacier says, man, just let us plug them in already on the Xbox. PS does it. It would open up access to more complex RPG games for one. And Stone agreed with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The more complex, the better, I say.
Now, here we've been, I will say, I won't say we were unfair, but here on Gaming as Usual, some of us has been bashing the new Xbox One and about what's been going on with it and everything else. But at the same token, because I am the type of person I am that I'll say the negatives, the positives, and everything else about all systems. I try to be honest with the people that are going to be buying these systems pretty much, which is why I said right from the beginning, don't buy any of these dang systems 6 months to a year after they come out. Wait that long at least, because they will be making improvements, changes, this and the other thing. But I wanted to point out, we have been putting PlayStation 4 on the high horse lately, and I want to make sure people understand with the PlayStation 4, if you're going to be playing online games, now you actually have to pay a sub. It's going to be, I think they said $5 a month was confirmed. So it's not as much as the Xbox One. Xbox
Actually,
Live.
it is the same price.
It is. They did.
Yes.
Yeah. They both come out to $60 a year.
And I think you might be alone on the pedestal there with PlayStation 4. I think last show, I definitely made sure that I posed that question about Sony not being the hero that they want us to believe they are. They're doing some things here where they're quietly trying to implement, have the publishers take the blame, I guess is the big thing. So we'll see what happens.
So wait, now what you're saying now is that the Sony players are going to have to pay to be online like the Xbox players.
Yep.
Yes, that is true. Okay, sorry. It'll be okay. Like Xbox, they have the gold and the silver subscriptions. It'll be basically the same exact thing. Now you have to pay to play multiplayer online on PlayStation 4.
However, you will still get free Netflix, free. All the other apps are free. The only thing you're paying for is to play multiplayer online.
Well, there is more to it that you have to pay for.
But they haven't gone into full detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did say
issue.
Netflix and Hulu and the other one are free.
Okay, now Black Glacier says, everyone keeps on mentioning the sub fee on PlayStation, but I'm used to it as an Xbox gamer. I will be buying Xbox One day one. I mean, yeah, they are going to improve them, but there will be improvements on that version and the next, so why wait? My biggest deciding factor is that the exclusives for Xbox are far more exciting than the PlayStations. But here you go, Glacier. With that Xbox One, you can be videotaped. The government can see you.
Oh, see, that's going too far.
Well, we ain't gonna touch on that. We ain't gonna touch on that right now because that was touched in a previous show and the news articles up and stuff. Yes, people can watch you. They say that the Kinect device can be shut off the video camera, but they also have gone back and said it will be turned on automatically when updating certain features or when playing certain devices or activating certain things on your Xbox. Which means they can turn it on whenever the heck they want. But we ain't going to be getting into that aspect because we've hit on it enough on our show.
Well, I'm just going to throw it out right now just to completely, before we shut it down, I want people to know they will not be recording you and sending information to the government. That is just a really annoying conspiracy theory that people have issues with. They have come out and said you will choose what you want to be sent to the cloud. If you want anything recorded from your Kinect, that's up to you. Now we can move on.
Yeah. But anything you send to the cloud will be sent elsewhere. But anyways, my big thing about not buying it right away. Granted, we're pretty sure Microsoft has learned from their mistakes before about the Red Ring of Death. They may have learned that. But every time a new piece of hardware or equipment or anything comes out, I've seen it in the past with big name companies that you think would learn from their previous mistakes. Either that same mistake happens or something else goes wrong. And there's going to be a ton of bugs with it. In fact, there's already been tons of bugs while they were on stage doing presentations for some of their exclusives. They weren't playing right. They couldn't get it to work. In fact, there was like a 5-minute video of them trying to get this one game to work on stage, and it's like, really? And as far as their exclusives, they have far less than anyone else right now that they've shown. I don't know for sure if they have far less overall, but as far as they've shown, they have less.
And now you're saying Microsoft is showing less?
Yeah, I'm saying.
I was gonna say, are you getting that right, or are you talking about PlayStation there? I thought PlayStation only had 8 exclusives, and Xbox had 15, and they were sharing some with the PC. But I mean, that's Microsoft also. So I mean,
well, when I'm talking about exclusives, I mean exclusive to that console, Not sharing a PC, not sharing anything else. That's what exclusive means, is exclusively to that console. I mean, that's just my definition. I mean, that's the definition I grew up understanding and everything else. And I don't understand, what is it? Actually gonna try to find this one real quick because I found it earlier.
Penguin says that the Kinect is always on, though.
Yes, the Kinect always has to be hooked up.
It can be turned off, actually.
It can be turned off, but it has to be connected at all times.
And Glacier says, well, that's the problem with live shows. So many things that you need to go off without a hitch, hard to pull it off perfectly. I think that Count Sonny had a 6 Xbox and 8 purely exclusive to that platform, but had more that are also shared with PC. And Penguin says, so who's to know when it's recording without your permission?
That can be
It
argued.
actually has a light on the Kinect that tells you when it's on.
But real quick, this is something that I've seen that was touched on earlier when I was watching the E3 live event and stuff like that. Xbox has these exclusive titles for Xbox One. Some of which are games that, I don't want to say games, but titles and companies that you knew would remain with Xbox and Microsoft, because in some ways some of these companies are actually umbrellaed under Microsoft, so you know they're going to be there. Others have just been with Microsoft for a long time. But some of these titles are also older titles that are just being redone. And then there's also ones like, I don't understand how this is 1998 and Xbox is now Nintendo with Killer Instinct. That makes no sense to me at all.
Microsoft purchased Rare, who were the developers of Killer Instinct. In purchasing that studio, they then owned the rights to Killer Instinct.
And not only that, I mean, who doesn't want to see a Killer Instinct? I mean, are you serious right now? Like, you don't want to see Killer Instinct?
I want to see it. I want to see it. But I grew up playing Killer Instinct on I'll say semi-square controller with D-pad and up to 6 buttons. That was it. No joysticks, no nothing. And if I'm going to play the game that I grew up and was playing tournaments against neighborhood kids, playing tournaments at, I ain't going to reveal my age, but at school, and we played on these old controllers. And to me, when games like that get brought back, I can't play them on other controllers. And to me, thinking I'm going to have to play it on the 360 controller, not going to cut it.
That just takes it to a whole new level of old-fashioned. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, you know, I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be okay.
I mean, that's like when past Christmas I bought my kids a Wii for Christmas because it was supposed to be the console for kids or for younger families and stuff. And they wanted Mario. So I bought the Mario games. And I sat down with them the very first day, started playing, and I'm like, this isn't Mario. This ain't the Mario. So I went into the Wii shop, or I forget what it's called now, and purchased the old Mario. Super Mario Bros. 1, Mario Bros. 2, Mario Bros. 3, all those. That's what we're playing. I don't like it. I mean, I love it when they change stuff, but my classics, they can't change.
Well, I think you're one of a few, so we'll agree to disagree on that one. I'm very excited.
I wanted to talk about the Oculus Rift. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I'm extremely excited, first and foremost. this is something that I've been excited ever since they first announced this project. It's not something that we're not used to actually seeing things like this, and I think it'll definitely kind of help in advancing gaming and stuff like that. Just as in the same way as including tablets and stuff will.
Yeah, and to me, it looks. I watched a guy playing it earlier, and then they actually, I forget, I ain't got the site up anymore, but it was live stream anyway, so they probably didn't have a recap of it where I can go to it now and watch it. They're probably busy editing it. But earlier there was someone live streaming. He played it some, and then because they only give you like 15 minutes to preview these things, before his time was up, he hooked up his camera inside of it to show what it looks like from the inside. And he said it looked great. He did put some concerns in there. You guys got to remember before I go too deep in this, this is a beta project. It's a prototype, that sort of thing. He did say he had some concerns about the way it fits, and he thinks that it's gonna be one of those things that either makes or breaks it. Because, and I see where he's coming from with this, because watching their and them talk about it and stuff today, it's like a ball cap. You're gonna have to have multiple sizes. Granted, the things on the side adjust and probably the top strap adjusts, but it's like the goggles that we had in Iraq. Is how is it gonna fit right here? If you got one size head, you're gonna need a smaller size. You're gonna need a larger size. It's, to me, it's gonna either make or break it.
Glacier agrees. Something like, he says, oh yeah, something like that would have to be uncomfortable. And I was just thinking that they look like goggles and that they would be very uncomfortable. I can't wait till they get an updated version where they're a little bit smaller and not so big. And
Yeah, well, and the size is one of those things that's going to be difficult. And I think really when it comes to the size, that'll probably just be how they adjust it by kind of giving it more of a sleek look. But it's built using two separate screens that I believe the last time they said it's 7-inch screens because they were planning on doing 5 or 6, but they ran out. So they decided that they would just upgrade the screen size because they had enough of the 7s apparently. So that's one of the things, is the size is definitely going to be a difficult thing to work with. And again, that's probably just where they kind of adjust its appearance.
Well, guys, I'm going to date myself here right now and say that this is not the first time we've seen this. Back in the day, in the 90s, when I was a younger pup, Virtual Boy was out, and I remember that being ridiculously popular. I don't think that many people are going to care about how it fits or any of that. They're going to want this thing. I know that they're also they just recently upgraded this, and they've got a prototype where it's going to be 1080p. So people are going to deal with it being uncomfortable. They're going to deal with everything. Because I think back in the day, the Virtual Boy sold like hotcakes. I mean, back when gaming wasn't as big as it is now, and that unit, I remember clearly being over $150 because my parents told me, heck no. They didn't care how cool it was.
There was a cheaper version because there was a Virtual Boy, and then there was another knockoff one that came out like a year later that was just a strap around the head and this little, I want to say, it stuck out about 2 to 3 inches from your forehead, and then a little red screen that would fold down and fold up, and you'd fold it down in front of your right eye, I believe it was. And that's what screen everything was on, was in that. But you could see through the red screen. You could see your character and stuff on it. You can move it with the little controller. Because that's the cheap knockoff one that my parents got me. Because we couldn't afford the big name one. But that's one I remember. And I played the crap out of that. I actually wore the headband. I remember wearing it clear through and having to makeshift fix it to get where I could still play it. But you're right, it was very popular.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't. They've teased us with this long enough since back in '95. Here it is now, 2013. Give us virtual goggles. I don't care if I have to shave my head to get this thing to work. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna love it. I don't care.
Next thing you'll know, they'll give us eye implants to where we can just walk around without no goggles on, just watch and play.
Or like some sort of contacts. That'd be kind of cool.
All right, are you back with us? I seen you drop out there for a minute.
Yep, I'm back.
Okay. So we talked about several different controllers. I want to touch on, because we did mention it earlier, the I keep wanting to say iPad, but the pads that are with the tablets, thank you, that are with these systems. Of course, the Wii U has the gamepad.
The gamepad.
Smart Glass is for the 360, Vita, or no, the Vitas for PS4. Why can't they just say freaking tablet? Don't need to name the dang thing. Tablet for PS4.
The Vita is their little handheld mobile. They could have just called it like the PSP2 or something like that, but I guess Vita is a better name.
But we should discuss how these things are now not only being used to view, because I remember when the tablets first came out, you could use them to watch Twitch channels, you could use them to watch just TV and everything in general. Now, not only can you use it to watch people play games, you can actually be in the dang game, controlling your character and stuff, side by side with someone that is using the their controller and their system and whatnot.
Personally, I'm actually a huge fan of this. This is something I've kind of actually wanted for a while. And I'm one of those people that feels that integration with tablets into our game consoles as well, being able to have friends come in on their tablets, maybe if they're not at home or they're on their way riding the subway, so, things like that. I feel that is one of the futures of gaming, is expanding the integration in how we play.
Absolutely.
And I have to agree with you, because I also think that hopefully soon in the near future we're going to get cross-console gameplay, and people say, well, that ain't going to happen because these big names are going to fight against each other. Okay, great. You're going to have games that aren't exclusive to any of these titles or to any of these consoles that have multiplayer capabilities, that people are going to be like, well, I want to play with my friends, but he's got an Xbox, he's got a PlayStation. I'm just not going to play with him because I can't afford this brand new system. But then you throw in there that, look, man, you can now play with people on PC if you have a PS4. Just giving you a demonstration. They have not said that, just to let you know. But you can play with people on the PC. That's a selling point right there. You say Xbox One, you can now play with people on the PlayStation 4. Bam! Now you got people that already have these systems that were not buying that particular game because they didn't have anyone to play with. They go to their friend's house and play because they don't know anyone else that has a game to play it, whatnot. But now that they have the access to do cross-console gaming, they're gonna buy that game to play it with their friends. So it's a double-edged sword, I guess you can say. They're gonna lose some money with selling consoles, but they'll gain more, in my opinion, by selling the games. The industry as a whole will gain more.
Yeah, and Blood Glacier, I'm actually definitely going to touch on this here. This isn't actually really new. You've seen multi-platform play already on the 360. I don't know if you've heard of this game. It was actually a pretty big deal for a while. Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually on Windows and Xbox. You were able to play against each other even if you had a friend on PC and you were on your Xbox. And that was a huge deal. Now, obviously technology has changed, so the connection between the two is definitely a lot better. But it's been there, and then even going to a more recent title, Defiance. It's this actually during development, they had the game. You were able to play Xbox, PS3, and PC. All three of them were actually able to interconnect and play with each other. Of course, you know, again, this is where it really comes in. You know, their consoles don't want to play ball. Now, from what I recall, it was actually mostly Sony making the final call. Xbox was like, I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's really the thing is I don't know that we'll really see these two heads playing ball with each other. It's a big deal. It's something that, again, in a perfect world, of course we'd be playing with our friends on other consoles, but I don't see that happening anytime soon at all.
I mean, even if they were to put it into like, oh man, what was that? There was a recent game, and I can't remember the dang name of it. It was a space age type game, and the PC gamers were like flying around these spaceships and doing this, that, and the other thing. But they could talk to their friends that were on, I want to say it was either I think it was Xbox 360 that were
I think I know
down,
what you're talking about.
that were down on the planets collecting resources and stuff. Their friends that were on, I forget what game it is, but I thought
Dust 514 and EVE Online.
EVE Online, that's it.
Yep.
That was cool.
The PS3 and the PC. And yes, they are two completely different games. Dust 514 on the PS3, which, free to play first person shooter. But then you go to the PC and you're playing this MMO that's been around for 10 years already. And they're able to interconnect. And I do think that's definitely a big step and an advancement for gaming. And I'm glad to see that now we're starting to see tablets kind of come in and actually be more welcome. And, hey, gamers play on all kinds of different platforms. And if you're allowing me to play some of these amazing games and then also hop in on a tablet to help out, like with the Division, the UAV there, that's an amazing mechanic. Mm-hmm. And then Battlefield 4 showed it with the new, or well, actually it's not new, but the commander mode that's returning, and them using their tablet to call in missile strikes. The extension of gameplay through additional platforms like tablets and and other controllers that have their own special stuff as well. I definitely think that it's helping gaming as a whole.
Now, I don't want anyone out there to lie, but I know some of you guys are going to be there. Just go ahead and raise your hand if this is going to be you. You're going to be playing the game on PS4, Xbox One, what have you. And you're going to have your tablet sitting beside you. And like if you need to call in Commander Strike, instead of calling out to your friend, you're calling out to your invisible friend and just reaching over and hitting those buttons on the tablet to do a Commander Strike. How many of you guys would do that? I know you are.
Well, with Battlefield 4, you really can't because they have it set up so only one person per team can actually be the commander. And I guess we don't know how it works in Division.
That's what I was going to say. Division, that's going to probably be a very difficult one. And I also, I wonder if they won't lock that out so that you won't have people doing that and really will be able to get people to go ahead and integrate some of their friends and make these games more playable. So
yeah, because I know the demonstration that they showed, they said that because the one guy that was on stage, of course, so he was the first one there, and then the buddy that came up to him, the other guy that came running up, he said that was the guy on the tablet. And I don't know if the gal was on tablet, smartphone, what. Who knows? She could have been on another console somewhere. But then they had a fourth person show up, and I was like, wow. And they're talking about you can even have more than that. It's like, I want to see one of these games go to 8-player teams instead of sticking with just 2 or 4-player teams. I'm tired of that. Or even 5 players. Like, ooh, 5-player, ooh. No, I want to see it because they can now use the tablet. and before you were stuck with only 4 controllers would go with your system, and even still only 4 controllers. But if you integrate the tablet, the internet access now, you can get games that have 8-man teams, fire teams. In the Army you had 12-man teams, Squad 1, Squad 2, Squad 3, Squad 4. That's a platoon. I would love to see some of that in a game now, where you got a squad 12-man team to play the game. You got fire team of 4 or 5 people. You got a platoon 40 plus.
Yeah, and I think you'll definitely start seeing some of those improvements in the amount of players that can be in, and I'm pretty sure how they'll end up doing it with the Division is you'll have your universal account. If you're logged into your console, you can't log in on the tablet. You'll have to log into one or the other, and I'm sure that's how they'll do that.
Sure.
Now, I'm wondering, changing the subject, sorry, with the PS4 now going to be charging people to go live and stuff, are they going to make it so if you're not playing the game with certain people, you can get into a party and still be able to talk to them? Because I know there's a lot of complaints from the PS players because they can't do that like we can on the Xbox.
Actually, I don't know if they've said anything about a party system.
I'm pretty
sure. Yeah.
They haven't mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure something is there with at least some games, because like these people that were playing Division on the PS4, granted it's not open world yet, it's just there being tested and stuff, but they were able to jump right in, even though it's going on I think they said it's up to 24 computers or 24 systems at once. There in the booths and stuff, plus the demonstration hall had it going at the same time, and we're able to get right into the respected 4-man groups. I don't know if they were just set up on different LAN networks or what, but it appeared to me like you can actually join your friends just by many of us computer gamers use Steam. We see a friend online, we can right click, we can go join game, bam, we're in their game. I'm pretty sure that's the way they're going to have it set up.
Well, yeah, they'll have that, but I think she was talking about how on Xbox Live we have the party system where you can have a group of members join in, all your friends and all that stuff, but they can all be playing any different game. On the PlayStation 3, you can't do that, but I guess it looks like you actually can finally do that now on the PlayStation 4. But there's still some questions. Well, what if I have a friend on the PlayStation 3? Can he talk to me, or what? How does this work? So we'll have to see, because from what it looks like, both Microsoft and Sony aren't really at the point where they're just gonna kick the current gen out the door once the new gen comes out.
Yeah, and so that's something too. People were asking earlier about holding on, like you were just talking. They ain't kicking the current gens out the door. People don't realize when I'm saying to go ahead and just hold off on buying a new system, between now and next year's E3, they already have talked and scheduled 100 games for the Xbox 360 to be released between now and next year's E3.
Well, not only that, they've also launched a new Xbox. It looks like an Xbox Slim, in my opinion. But they've launched a new Xbox, and they're shipping that out. People are purchasing them, so they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Well, Blood Glacier says, from what he's gathered, they said that you can finally talk across games. So I would expect something similar to the Xbox Live Party system, is what Glacier is saying.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier. Which it's definitely something that.
Yeah, that's why I was looking, because you were just talking about porting people from PS3 to PS4 and talking to them that way, and that's what I was looking at, because this here has got reputation and preservation. I figured, well, maybe it's listed there, but it's not. They only say that PS4 trophies will be ported, and of course 360 achievements.
Well, and we know the accounts will be ported to the
Yeah.
new consoles, but what people's concerns are is if they have a friend that hasn't got the PS4 yet, will they be able to talk to their friend on the PlayStation 3 if they're not playing the same games?
I have
So yeah, that's definitely a concern that I can truly understand.
now. Let's talk a little bit. We just about the consoles and their specs themselves. The optical drive, or as most of you guys would know it, the disc drive. PlayStation 4 is Blu-ray, DVD. Same with the Xbox One, but the Wii U is only a 25 gigabyte optical disc, and it's
Yeah,
proprietary.
it's a custom format that they created for the Wii. They should have just gone with Blu-ray. I think it would have been so much easier
I think
because
it'd been
with
cheaper
this,
for them.
wait, that's probably what it would have been. 25
Yeah.
gigabyte optical disc. That's basically, some of your smaller uh, factor Blu-ray discs. Just
Yeah.
get that licensing and you're good to go. You're saving a little money. They probably could have come in at a lower price point.
Yeah, $2.99. I was imagining.
Well, they already are at $2.99. If you want the was it, I want to say it was the some screen or some other thing. It was the updated controller or something. It was the 349, but
Right. Yeah.
it's $2.99 without that special feature.
I just put a link to show the picture of what Koko just put into our chat about what they're showing for the PS4 at
E3, actually. Yeah, that's a controller. If you could go ahead and get that graphic up so we can see it. That controller is actually looks pretty much like the Xbox controller, and they're showing that at E3 as we speak. So
Yeah, but see, it's the PlayStation. Actually, the what I understand, because I was reading an article that had this shown in it earlier, and the reason I didn't show this earlier when we were talking about the controllers is this isn't by PlayStation. This is not the ones coming with. This is not the ones coming with 360.
right,
This is one of those third-party controllers I was talking about earlier.
absolutely, absolutely.
However,
if it was a third party, I wouldn't have put it up there.
However, this was a good example, which I'm glad you put it in there. Um, this controller is one of those I was talking about where they just take off the face plate or whatever you want to call it and adapt
Yeah.
it to the other ones. They have said Fusion or Fusion 1, whatever you want to call them, by Power A. This is the Power A is the company, and this is their controller, the Fusion 1. They are going to make controllers like this. Fusion 1, it's going to be for Xbox, and it's going to be for PlayStation. They said they haven't said if the design's going to change, but they said the Fusion 1 is going to be available for both. And then they had this picture, and they had some other pictures. But yeah, it would be nice to get this controller on the PlayStation 4, and those that are used to the PlayStation controller get one like it on the Xbox One for them. But we'll have to see how that works. But yes, this is one of those third-party controllers, and as you can see right here, I'm trying to move my mouse so you guys see it. There's a little ABS screwdriver because they were taking these apart earlier. It comes with the kit, and these two pieces here actually clip on like this one is. You can see how there's that groove there. It opens up, and you can adjust it to make the grips smaller like the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 controller is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I was gonna show one other thing. I can't remember what I did with it, but anyways, back to what we were talking about with the schematics, as I'm gonna call it, for the different consoles.
When you're done with the schematics, I want to do a giveaway.
Okay, yeah, it ain't gonna take long to do the schematics. All right, game DVR, PlayStation 4, yes. Xbox One, yes. Wii U, of course not.
Oh, can we go back to the DVD, the optical drive, really quick? Something that was weird that I noticed last night, and I think I was talking to Sterzy about it the other night as well, is that they are not going to support CDs anymore, and I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if it's okay or not, but it just seems really silly to have a drive that is shaped like a disc that does not play all disc. I think that's kind of crazy.
That was Sony that confirmed that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And both of them have talked about not being able to use an actual CD in their drives. And this was being talked about. I forget who was talking about earlier. I was on their channel chatting with them a bit about this, and we were talking about, like you guys were saying, you can't use CD anymore. And he is like me. We love music, and always talking about putting music in our system, listening to it. When I had my 360 a few years ago, I was constantly listening to music through it, even while playing games, and putting music on there to run. And he's like, "How are we gonna do that now, other than USB?" I'm like, "Well, I ain't gotta worry about it. I got 6 1 TB external hard drives I can just plug in there and good to go. They're all full of music. You guys with your CDs, that's your problem." But he's got a great point. Is without that CD, there's gonna be a lot of people, unless they're burning it to DVD discs and playing them that way. But you can't buy them in the store like that.
Well, does this mean that they're going to adopt like an iTunes idea where they're going to have you download content directly from the cloud? Xbox is now going to be an Apple store or an Android store? Is that what they're thinking?
Well, I'm sure both of them will allow you to put your own music from external sources. What we do know is Sony has been making a huge push for their Music Unlimited service. It seems like maybe this might be one of their ways of kind of pushing us and saying, "Hey, you know what? You just use this. You know, you can't put those CDs. Just use this." Who knows?
And I mean, it's the same for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They both are Blu-ray DVD only, and of course we use often their own land with that one. RAM, PlayStation 4 has got the 8 gig DDR5. The G DDR5, and the Xbox One has got the 8 gig DDR3. In my opinion, I've used both in computers, and to me, the DDR5 seems to be more responsive, faster, everything, even if it's the same size.
The GDDR5 is actually, it is twice as fast as DDR3, but then again, you know, just because it's twice as fast doesn't mean it's going to be used properly. That's the main issue. RAM is one of those. RAM is one of those parts in a computer that is easily one of the most fragile pieces, which is probably why they're so much cheaper than all the other parts.
Which is what I was gonna touch on. DDR5 is faster. Yes. Confirm. Yes. However, in my opinion, and I will say professional because I've built computers for companies and stuff before, DDR3 is more reliable. It doesn't burn out as quick or anything else.
Well, yeah, and then there's another part. Okay, you can argue, well, they have GDDR5, it's twice as fast. It's better than DDR3. Yeah, that's true. However, Xbox One and Microsoft has really said, Xbox One, we're really looking to expand your console experience to not just solely run on the Xbox One itself. You'll be able to utilize the cloud for computing, and this is definitely something I really want to touch on, but I'm just going to kind of graze it quickly. With the cloud is really going to expand the Xbox One more than people think, just because it has the DDR3, which yes is notably more reliable in its own right. I think that they're still kind of on a similar level, and that's something that people shouldn't overlook yet.
Well, this is Microsoft learning their lesson from before. You know, there is a more robust fan in this new unit, so it's breathing better, and they want to make sure that they're putting reliable parts in there. They don't want to have another debacle like Red Ring Death of 2006, or was that 7? Whatever it was. They don't want to have that happen again. So, yeah, this might be a next-gen console, but GDR3 is still a very reliable piece of equipment. Why not? Why not go with it?
Glacier
Yep.
says, "Man, either way, they both have like 10x the 10x the RAM as the last gen."
Which is
Yeah, and
true.
he's actually right. For those that didn't know, the Xbox 360 has 512 megabytes of RAM, whereas also the PS3 actually had only 256 megabytes of RAM. And just seeing how amazing those games can actually look with the technology that they have, and say what you want, yeah, okay, PC gaming is going to look better, but look at the technology that the current gen consoles hold and how great those games look for what they have. We're talking 8 gigs of RAM for these consoles. These games are going to look phenomenal.
Yeah, very
And
generous.
do you know that this is one thing that I want to point out? Um, the reason they up the RAM so much, in my opinion, now this is just an opinion based, but it's because they are doing more online. They're connecting more to the web,
Yes.
all that.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
RAM is, people think RAM is, oh, that's my power of my computer. It's great. Da, da, da. No. RAM is how fast you open up the windows. Some of the RAM is used to open up windows that are already on your computer, yes. But the majority of RAM is used to open up your tabs in your or in your browsers, open up to the internet, connect to the internet, listen to live streams like what you're doing now through the internet. That's what your RAM mainly works with.
Yeah, exactly. And then also with them saying how their consoles are definitely going to do a little bit more than just connecting. They have the quick switch and stuff like that. So you'll be able to just quickly switch between watching movies or switch between your games in an instant. Literally in an instant. You'll just be playing one game while searching for a matchmaking game on Call of Duty or whatever. It'll pop up saying, "Hey, we found a match for you," and then you can say, "Well, all right, let's play this." The RAM is definitely going to. That's definitely one of the things is they do need a lot more RAM for that. But then still, adding what they have, that's still not going to really utilize all 8 gigs, not for a while.
Eh,
Glacier also says, "Oh, so it's 20x the RAM. Good lord."
Yeah,
He's blown away by what they do with the 500 MP. From
the
the gaming perspective, more RAM, more stuff on screen.
all right. So real quick, the Wii U has 2 gigs DDR3. The Xbox One has 8 gigabytes DDR3. The PlayStation 4 8 gigabytes DDR5. My computer 32 gigabytes DDR5. So that means if I get a PlayStation 4 and one of my RAM chips blows my computer, I can take apart the PlayStation 4 and steal one of the RAM chip out of there and put it in my computer.
More than likely not.
I was gonna say the
They don't
same
use the
thing.
RAM chips,
I know it's not a computer
it's
RAM
the
chip.
cells, but
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, no, that's hey, that's a great joke.
I mean,
But hey, in a perfect world, of course you can.
it's got a quarter of the RAM that my PC does, but let's not get into that. Let's move on to CPUs. This is where this is my love is CPUs, and PlayStation 4 has blown me away by getting the single chip 86X AMD Jaguar processor 8 core. That is a beast of a CPU.
It is. That, you know what? That's what I wanted to talk about. AMD is the big winner of the console wars. If you're a PlayStation or your Xbox, it doesn't matter. AMD is going to the bank on this, and they are happy to see this. These processors are amazing. And then just recently, AMD has released their 5.0 gigahertz processor. So AMD is doing some great things, and they've made a very good decision throwing these processors into these consoles.
Well, they're only throwing it into PlayStation 4 though,
No, that's not true.
because the
It is
Xbox has
the
got the
Xbox.
custom CPU, and
But
they
it's
Actually,
AMD.
it is an AMD. Microsoft signed a $3 billion deal with AMD for custom hardware. It is an AMD processor. It is actually a custom AMD processor for the Xbox One.
okay, because all the articles that I'm reading everywhere just says Microsoft custom CPU.
Yeah, and
And
I think they really need to fix that because it is important that people actually know it is still an AMD build. It's just custom for Microsoft's console.
and then of course the Wii U, poor thing, multi-core power PC,
Power PC.
espresso
Oh,
CPU. Yeah,
those poor guys. They really came into they're okay. That is a current gen console. They really sold themselves short, and I feel bad for them. But
that's
Nintendo
what.
plays their own game.
Yeah,
Well, that's
they are current console, but they do have one thing going for them, which I will talk about later. But let's go on because I'm trying to hurry this up so we can do a giveaway.
Let,
Storage is
let
got
me read. Let me read what Glacier says. He says, so what you're saying is the real winner this year is an AMD.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
it really is. It is AMD all the way. That $3 billion deal with Microsoft, that right there was alone enough to just say that's a win for them.
Right, and that's why they've released that new
And-
processor, that new 8
Yep.
core, and I can't wait as a PC gamer. That thing looks amazing.
yes.
Yeah,
And the
not to
fact
mention
that they
core
got
also
their
comes
the
Yep.
fact that the
Go on.
AMD's in both consoles, or I
Mhm.
should say both big name consoles, is that's easy enough to say AMD took it to the bank this year.
Yeah, they are definitely rolling in all kinds of money right now, and it's definitely kind of a upsetting deal for Nvidia, even though they kind of wanted to do their own thing. And it was crazy that Nvidia actually said they completely turned down all deals because they said that they were asking for not enough money that we were willing to develop for, which kind of hurts me. I'm like, wow, that's actually kind of hurtful. That's very snobby. But
All right, so storage. This is what most PC gamers would call hard drive. PlayStation 4, 500 gigabytes hard drive. All right, decent. Xbox One, 500 gigabyte hard drive, and poor Wii U, 8 gigabytes. That's if you get the $299 one. If you pay the $349, you get the 32 gigabyte flash.
yeah, and there are there are installs for downloads, but there's no installs for disc-based games. And I think that was really some of the reason. But I guess they also do allow the external storage
Yes.
on the Wii U.
Um, the external storage for PlayStation 4 has not been announced yet, unless it was announced today and I missed it because I was busy. The external storage for Xbox One is yes, USB, of course, and Wii U, yes, USB. Cloud storage, PlayStation 4, yes. Xbox One, yes. Wii U, no. Mandatory game installs, no for the PlayStation 4, yes for the Xbox One, no for the Wii U. Required internet connection. PlayStation 4, it's not required unless you're playing a multiplayer game or the game itself requires it for other reasons. Xbox One, yes, required internet connection. Wii U, no. Used game fee, we all know what this is. No, yes, no. Backwards compatibility. This is where I said Wii U has got the rest of them. No backwards compatibility for PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. Wii U is compatible with the Wii. So if you got Wii games, you can play them on the Wii U. So there's the
Too
one
bad they
plus.
didn't go back to the GameCube as well.
Or like Super Nintendo, you know.
Well, that was
add a
where the
little
great
slot.
games were, and then
Okay, and Glacier's now saying biggest nut is that Sony's is removable and ungradable. Not sure which Microsoft's word on that is though.
Yes, for the
yes.
hard drive.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 4 is upgradable. Xbox has not said whether or not theirs is.
They have said it is not an upgradable internal hard drive, but then again, there is always that possibility that they release another build that is changeable. But also, as far as we know from some of the things that Sony has kind of talked about, they're not supporting external hard drives. But then again, I guess if it's upgradable, that's not nearly as big a deal. But Microsoft has stated external hard drives are very much an option, which is important to me at least.
Alright, so cross-game chat. Yes for the PlayStation, yes for Xbox, no for Wii. So that's what we were talking about earlier with team chats and stuff. Yes, it's available with PlayStation 4. Yes, it's available with the Xbox One. Motion control, DualShock 4 for the PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 4 Move are all for PlayStation. Connect 2 is for the Xbox. Wii Remote and Wii U Gamepad is both of those are actually included for the Wii U, so that's cool. Second screen, we already covered that earlier. Voice commands, Sony's TBA, Microsoft, Xbox One is definitely yes. No for Wii U. Subscription service, we covered that earlier. USB 3.0 all the way around except for Wii U, it's 2.1. Live streaming, yes for PlayStation 4, yes for Xbox One, no for the Wii U. We already talked about what carries over. Web connection, this is what I get, and they have changed this within the last 24 hours. If you guys were not paying attention or were not listening to the web connections, Ethernet, IEEE 802.11, B, G, and N were listed for the PlayStation, but for the Xbox, until yesterday, it was yesterday afternoon, evening, and this morning they changed it. It was only listed for the 802.11N. They changed it to B, G, and N because I don't know if there was some miscommunication there or what. If you guys don't know, N is if you got a wireless router in your home that's a B or a G, it won't reach N products, but if you got an N router, it will reach B, G, and N products for Wi-Fi. So when they only had N listed, this was a big thing that people were worried about because a lot of people in their homes only had B or G routers. They weren't businesses, so they weren't like huge internet geeks like myself that has the top dollar N. They were worried that they weren't going to be able to get online with the Xbox One because it didn't have B or G. Well, it has been confirmed that it does have B, G, and N now.
Glacier says, hope they allow use of the 802.11 AC adapters.
I don't know if they do or not yet. It's not listed. They haven't said whether it does, but it should. Skipping down, Bluetooth, yes for the PS4, no for the Xbox One, yes for the Wii U. AV hookups, which this is something that really sparked my attention earlier. Some of us have older TVs because we don't watch TVs. The PS4 has got HDMI, 4K support, so does the Xbox One. The PS4 also has analog and RCA plus optical. Xbox One only has the HDMI, which I just covered, and the opticals output, but it does not allow analog or RCA, which with most people nowadays having the big flat screens and stuff like that have HDMI hookups, they ain't got to worry about it. They can just hook up through the HDMI. But what are your guys' opinion on this not having the analog or RCA?
It doesn't affect anything. It really doesn't.
I was going to say the same exact thing. This is a next-gen console. People, they need to get with the program. If you're purchasing, you've got the money for this console, then, hey, you've got to have the money to play. That's just the bottom line. I mean, you can't expect to see the same kind of connections that you had on your NES back in the 80s and 90s. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, yep. And I agree with you. But the main people that were talking about this earlier, and the main reason I want to bring this up is gamers like myself that try to get multiple consoles, or like back in the day when I used to have every single console that was out, clear up to the Sony PlayStation, or no, clear up to Xbox even. I had all the consoles before that, and I would have 4 or 5 of them hooked up to my TV at a time because I had different adapters and everything else. But here, most TVs nowadays only have one or maybe two HDMI hookups. If you're using HDMI for all the consoles and you have more than one console, if you're also using it for your DVD player or Blu-ray, whatever, you're also using it for your cable hookup. I mean, I I know from installing cable and stuff that a lot of those HDMI things, when you start adding too many of them, it starts interfering with the signals and with the quality. And I'm just wondering if, because the PlayStation 4 does offer that analog, that will give them a little more emphasis on those that want all the systems. Now they actually can free up a slot for something else.
Yeah. And really one of the other reasons why I say it doesn't affect anything is because if you are one of those people that some strange reason you have an old TV that doesn't have HDMI, either way, both consoles are shipping with an HDMI cable. Okay, so even if on PlayStation, yeah, it'll support the component, but you'll have to buy that cable separate. Xbox, it's really no different. They have HDMI to component adapters. So either way, it doesn't change anything.
Right, you'll be fine.
Now, well, the reason I was asked that is because I have an older TV that only has 2 HDMI plugins, so.
Get a HDMI switch.
Yeah, I was going to say converter, and you'll be fine. I mean, heck, I play Duck Hunt on my NES because I like the retro game, and I can only play it on my older TV, so, you know, we all have problems.
Now, this is something that I thought was interesting. Most of us with Xboxes, stuff like that, they were all region locked, where if you bought a game in America, it could only be played on American consoles. PlayStation 4 this year, I don't know if PlayStation 3 had it because I wasn't paying attention. PlayStation 3 last year I was busy doing other things. But PlayStation 4 this year has announced that their console will not be region locked, which means you can buy a game off the internet from some other country a lot cheaper than America or wherever you may be living, get shipped to you, and it will still play.
Well, and that's not entirely true either, though. If games can still be region locked alongside the hardware, that's really the main issue. Is the hardware isn't region locked, but the games can still be region locked.
Right.
And this goes again to where they're allowing the publishers to decide factors like that.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those things. It's a double-edged sword. Both these companies are playing on a thin line. Microsoft ain't allowing publishers or the gamers to decide any dang thing. They're just saying, here this is how you're gonna accept it. Bend over and we'll make it go. PlayStation, on the other hand, is like, we're making the developers choose how they want to do it. And
right.
we get
both
some
consoles
options. Yeah, well, they are, but they're not, because like Xbox is making the everything where it's gotta be online, They're also making it where it's gotta be region locked. They're making it, and this is why I said it's a double-edged sword. These are choices that these companies have made. Granted, they both had some great marketing ideas and some flops, but at the same time, these are the specs. These are the things that will make or break these companies. Well, I won't say the whole company, but make or break the release of these systems.
I don't know that necessarily that Microsoft or Sony really has too much to worry about. I think that whenever you try to change some things, you're going to have people that are going to be upset about that. It's just how it works. But I think that Microsoft has got a great vision. I think Sony is playing it safe, which they should. They've been getting hit with their numbers. They have split up some departments and things like that. So I mean, yeah, I would play it safe if we wanted to continue to make great consoles and have games and things. So yeah, let Microsoft take it and go out in deep water first and take all the flack and all that and change the game. As a PC gamer, I really feel like consoles have held us back a little bit. Especially after looking at these specs. They could have thrown 32 gigs in there. Why not? I mean, we've got it available. So, but yeah,
And that is something too that people have been touching on, and I believe in this 100%. If you see something on these consoles, it don't matter how small it is, but something you want changed on these consoles, email these companies, tell them what it is, tell them you aren't buying their system, and then wait 6 months to a year. And I guarantee you, if enough people complain and enough people, I guess you can call it vote with your wallet, that they don't like it and they ain't gonna buy it, these companies will make these changes. But right now, as it sits, they're they're thinking they look pretty. They ain't gonna make any changes unless the consumer says so.
Well, at this point in time, it's too late. You can't make changes. You're looking at these consoles releasing November. These changes, you cannot do that.
no,
Hardware is not, that's not changing. The only hardware you can probably see is the inclusion of AC internals on the slimline consoles. But hardware, no, that ain't going anywhere. There's nothing they can do about that.
Yeah, and I mean I agree with you there, but what I'm saying is, if people wait long enough, you'll see these changes in, like for example, how many different versions of Xbox 360 came out within the first 2 years while they were fixing everything that people were complaining about.
Well, there was, it depends on the definition, but yeah, they did make improvements
And
and
that's what I'm
stuff.
talking about. They will make these improvements. It won't be right
Yeah,
away because you
and you can't expect that.
yeah, it's gonna take 6 months to a year for them to get all these improvements made and put out to the public and stuff, or before they say, "Oh, we made a mistake." Um, I've actually seen companies do this. I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a graphics card company that was going out and they were talking about their new design and this, that, and the other thing, but they were making it to where if you were going to use their graphics card, the new one that they were designing and going to put out, you had to have their processor, you had to have, I think, this a certain power supply, this and the other thing, and people were like, you know what, we ain't buying this, even though it's a great freaking graphics card, but we ain't buying it because we don't have this processor on our computer, we don't have this power supply on our computer, and we don't want those. And uh, about 2.5 months before the release of this product to be put out on the shelves, they canceled it and they said, "Look, we realize we made a mistake by offering you this great product, but putting restrictions on it." So they pushed it back. I think it was 4 to 6 months until they could rework it to where it would work with other things. So companies will put stuff on back burners and will pull stuff off that they've already been promoting stuff to say, "Hey, look, consumers, you were right. We were wrong. We're gonna fix this issue before we release a mistake." Granted, some companies aren't as smart as others; they won't do that, but you never know until it actually happens.
Did you see what Glacier said?
I was just about to read that.
Yeah, and actually, I did read that, and I completely agree. I think that, and that's one of the things. This is really where people are totally taking things way out of hand. People need to understand there is no fee for used games. That fee that is a cost that is integrated within the price that you pay for your game. And I think that yes, these guys they put 2+ years into developing these games. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of work. I mean, they're putting their blood and money into these games. Why should they not get paid?
And I agree with you there. They should definitely get paid. I just think the ways some of it's done is, I think the whole process should have been thought out and played differently.
Well,
Yeah.
it's changed. I mean, instead of giving that money to GameStop, now you'll be giving that money directly to the developers. Well, some of that money you'll be giving some of that money to the developers, where before they were completely being snuffed out. So this is a good thing.
Yeah. And again, with what Blood says, the online pass, I do agree that, yeah, you know, they were doing it to support the developers and all that stuff. That is true. That is something that was great, and they had it. But I think that this is really the situation where it's like, I like it, but I didn't like spending my money buying a used game, and then basically I might as well have just bought the game brand new because they charged me an additional $15 on top of that. That's really where the issue was. Fundamentally, I was okay with it, but I didn't like having to spend an extra amount of money. Now that things have changed and that price will be included, that's definitely a whole nother ballpark. And again, this is just where gaming is going. We'll all have to accept it and welcome it because I think it only means that we're going to get better games now.
This is when I wish I would still have that article I had when the most recent Tomb Raider had released an article about 2 months after it released. They put a news article out, and it actually broke down how much, like, yeah, they sold bukus and bukus of copies of the game, but they broke down each game costs this much to purchase from the store, and they're like, okay, and they're like, this is how much this person gets, this is how much this person gets, the developers, the artists, this thing, the other thing, per game. They had broke it down so people could see. Some of these people in the thing only get a fraction of a cent per game that sells. And as far as used games go, here in the past, they haven't gotten anything from a resale of a game, or they've gotten very little. They've just stuck with the 3 cents per game or whatever it is. I think that if they were to say, when you resell your game and you have to pay to put it on your system or what have you, some of that cost goes to the developers, which they pretty much said it goes to developers and the studio and all that crap. Yeah, but why is it still the fee so high? I think they said some games can be up to $15 fee, and others are going to be $9. And because they said the price of the fee is going to depend on the game and the publisher and stuff like that. But some games come out and they're only $9 for the game, or $10-15 for the game even, and others come out at $60-$90 or $60 to $70 for the game. And then I got to, if I want to buy it used, I got to pay, I'm going to say, $10 to $25. Is that a fair estimate for a used game nowadays? I don't know. I don't buy used.
It really depends.
I don't buy used, so I don't know. But yeah, it's like plus another, I'd say 5 to 15 depending on the developer on top of that. It seems like the used price is a little high for me. If it was like all around $5, I could accept that.
Yeah. And actually, that's another great point that Blood Glacier makes. Seeing digital games at a lower cost than disc-based games, and that's definitely something that I will back. When you're paying the $60 for the games on discs, a lot of that money is actually paying for the manufacturing of the case and the disc and all that stuff. So why am I paying $60 for it if I'm not getting that hard copy?
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because if the retailer is kind of having to sell it for $60 and you're getting it online for $40, the retailers are going to lose their mind. I mean, who would in their right mind, who would go and buy that hard copy then? So they would completely lose out. So
Plus,
there's
people
no
with
way.
slower internet speeds would be more inclined. Right
this
now,
is when you're
yeah, it's
paying
a
more
problem.
for the online, or you're paying 60. So most places, I'll tell you this now: if you're gonna buy a game and you're getting the digital copy, you can usually get it a few dollars cheaper than you can in the store buying the hard disk. But here is the thing: the reason why you're paying that top dollar, people seem to think, oh, well, the reason you're paying $60 is for the disc and the manufacturing of the disc and the manufacturing of the case, the sleeve that goes on the case, and all that crap. Yeah, you're paying for that there. Digital copy, you gotta think those games are stored on servers that you gotta pay for. You gotta pay for individual. You gotta pay for maintenance of that server. You gotta pay for maintaining. You gotta actually have someone in there checking all the time, just like you would in a normal store, checking how many copies of this game do I have on disc. And there, it's how many keys do I have for this disc, or for this game? How many um, copies of the game is there? Um, and then you also got to pay fees for transferring data over the internet, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you still have to pay for. Um, it's There's also fees that these companies, the company itself, the game company doesn't, but their distributors and um, their the stores have to pay a licensing fee to distribute that information through the web. It's just like if I was selling music across the web that someone else owned and someone else created, I'd have to pay a licensing fee to sell that music. So all these other little fees that you don't notice are still there. It's just instead of paying for a plastic disc, it's paying for digital space, I guess you can say. So that's why they're still about the same price.
Glacier says two different things. First, he says there's a lot of people out there that are still scared on going completely cloud-based. And then he says actually companies are using the sub for the server fees. Excuse are full of crap going just off Blizzard's exponentials. Oh wow.
Yeah, that is true, Blood Glacier. But how many companies are leaving the sub fee area now? And as far as single player games where there is no sub, like Remember Me, I bought that as digital copy. Um, a lot of the Steam games are digital copies. Then
And
there's,
sweetheart,
I know it's
can you
time for the giveaway. That's why I already have it pulled up.
wait. Can you take off Animation Gaming Nation, please?
All right. If you guys are watching this, please get into the chat and type something so that make sure that my thing updates. Because the only way you can get in on this drawing, I know people watch and they don't log into Twitch or they don't have a Twitch account. The only way you can win something is by logging in and creating an account.
And while we're waiting to see if anybody logs in and leaves a message in the chat room, the link that I just put up there is for our game fan store. You could go in there and you can buy a lot of games at discounted price. When you do that, that doesn't only help us out, but it gives us coupons and discounts and whatnot so that we can return the favor and give them back to you.
Well, I didn't see you post the link. If you guys want the link, if you guys are on our website, gamingasUsual.com, or on our Twitch page, it is right below our video chat. You can buy Xbox Live points. You can buy, I believe they were sold out of PlayStation points when I checked at the beginning of the week. But they also have digital download copies of games and stuff like that. Go ahead and head over there, and if the link is broken, give me 1 second. I will pull it up. Open a new tab. Should look like this.
Yeah, it's saying it's not found. It's bringing me to the Facebook
Yeah,
page.
I have to redo
Yeah, the
the one
bot
on
needs to be
Twitch.
changed. That's all.
It's in chat now. GameFanShop.com/partner-gaming as usual. You can go over there. You can check out the games. They have tons of discounts. In fact, I'll go over there while we're waiting on you guys to type in chat. Give you some time. Remember Me's on sale until the 16th. Dark Souls on sale. Grind 2 on sale. Metro Last Light's on sale. Bioshock Infinite sale. And they got tons of other sales. These are the weekly deals. Every week they put on a bunch of games, put them up for sale. And yeah, some of them you ain't saving much on. You're only saving a couple of dollars or even $1 like the Pit. But others you actually save quite a bit. In fact, I want to say Tomb Raider and one of the other games was half off last week, and then there was one that was 70% off that I bought a couple of.
Infinity is not a bad price.
Yeah, Infinity's. You mean Bioshock Infinite? Yeah, that's not a bad price. It's $20 off, $21 technically, but yeah, good enough. Sims is half off. Last Light is $10 off. So I mean, you're getting discounts. Plus, just to let you guys know, we because we're partnered up with them, the more games we sell through them, they give us. I won't call it a budget because that doesn't seem right, but they give us a percentage that comes to us that we then can use to give you guys even more discounts. So, like, say, what was that? Infinite was like $20 off, I think it was, or $21. If we had the budget in there, but since we just started it and we ain't got no sales yet, say for next month, we can give you guys an extra 5% off. So, and that's off of the total. So, with Infinite being $60, and it's already down to, let's see here. Yeah, it's already down to $35.99. So if we were to give you an extra, or $38.99, extra 5% off, that'd be an extra $3 off. So it'd be $35 for that game. So the more we sell, the more discounts we can give to you guys. And going back to the roll the dice page. Alright, I think everyone is typed in chat, so you ready, they rage to let them know what they can win?
Yeah. I have, not that you guys can see it, but a pin of Master Chief. I had his head on a pin for you guys. I got it from Animazement 2013 here in Raleigh.
So we'll give that away. Do we want to, let me check something here. Alright guys, if you are not a follower, because our things only go out to followers, we can only do giveaways to our followers right now. I'm checking right now. Looks like we got a couple of new followers. Thank you guys for following. If you guys, because I'm gonna refresh this just in a second. What I want to do is see if we can't get to 50 followers right now. If we can get 3 more people to follow us when we go do this giveaway, I will throw in a giveaway as well, so that way we hit 50 followers. With that being said, though, I'm going to roll the dice. I think we can roll the dice for this one, right, Lady Rage?
Go for it, baby.
Blood Glacier, the most talkative person in chat. Congratulations, you are the winner of the Master Chief pin. What I need you to do, actually, Lady Rage, if you click on his name, or yeah, just click on his name.
Email.
Okay, there you go. Lady Rage put her email in there. Email her your information because it's gonna have to be mailed to you. Shoot her your mailing address, and she will get that to you as soon as possible. I'm gonna refresh here.
Congratulations, Blood.
Oh, we need one more follower. One more follower. That's it. And I can give away a game. And trust me, I'm no cheapskate when it comes to games.
No, he's giving out a $75 complete thing.
Don't tell him yet. Don't tell him yet.
Isn't that like you're giving out the same thing?
I'm looking at my inventory, seeing if I even have one left. Yes, I do. Okay, good.
Oh. Like new? I thought that was your last one.
Okay, if you were to look on screen right now, Rage, you see what I have that I can give away.
No, I can't. I'm refreshing my page.
All right, if you weren't refreshing your page.
Okay, now it's back up.
All right, I have 4 copies of Dota 2. I have Sanctum, the complete collection. I have Tomb Raider, the complete collection, Velvet Assassin, and Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And actually, I have 2 other copies of Elder Scrolls Skyrim, so I got 3 copies of that I can give away.
I bet I own the company because I can't join it. And that rats. I refreshed my page and it still tells me 47.
Well, you actually have to, which you probably can't do because you're not using Chrome. If you right-click the tab and go to duplicate, it'll show you a new one. It's showing me 49 right now. So if we can get to 50 followers, like I said, this is our new Twitch channel. Our last one we had over 100, so we're trying to build back up to that. If we can get another couple followers here, in fact, I'll put it this way: if we can get one more follower in the last 5 minutes of our show, because we're running out of time here, I'll do a giveaway of a game. So, Lady Rage, you want to go ahead and do all the shout-outs for tonight?
I didn't ask anybody to share.
Well, you can still do the shout-outs.
Well, yes, I can. The first one I want to give a shout out to would be Gwen. You can find their link underneath the game fan. It's Gaming World Entertainment Network. If you go there, they play live music. It's a gaming station that plays live music. Our very own Tyne works there. You can go in-game with them and request songs. And I believe he normally plays Guild of War 2 when he's working for them. And it's Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Also, what is it? Gamers Giving Back. You think I would have known that one by now. It's another company that Tyne is involved with. It's a charity that helps breast cancer victims.
We help everyone.
Excuse me. As with go and help them out. I'll get to my mail in a minute, okay? Blazer. Also, there's Gaming Chicks or Us. Honorable Assassin Killers. Nerd House. I fucking love video games. Ladies Phantom Lair. Geeking it out. Excuse me. Team Rage Clan page. Gamebook 2000. Of course, our website. GamingAsUsual.com. I know I'm missing one.
Well, you shouted out Gaming World Entertainment Network and Gamers Giving Back, right? Okay.
Yep. Animation Gaming Nation, which is our Koko's page.
That's right, and we shared the story, even though you tried to sneak it out there.
All right, so just let you know, Larry Rage, we hit over 50 followers. So I think since you told them I was going to be giving away the Tomb Raider collection.
No, I didn't say that you were going to. I said one time you had. I did not know that you had more.
All right, so how about this, guys? I'm going to hold this. I'm going to put this right on the screen to where everyone can see it. And if you guys don't know, I'm going to read them off again. You guys,
That Dota 2 is nice. He gave me one of those.
you guys can vote on what game you want. There's Dota 2. There's Sanctum Collection, which you don't know what that is. It's Sanctum 1. It's not Sanctum 2 that just came out. It's just Sanctum. It's Map Pack 1, Map Pack 2, and the official soundtrack. Then there's Velvet Assassin, which is a great game. I'll be streaming that again later one of these days. And then there's Skyrim, we all know and love. And then there's Tomb Raider Collection, which this here is all 10 Tomb Raider games, including the newest one.
So far, there's 2 votes for Skyrim, 1 vote for Tomb Raider. Penguin, choose one, honey. You can't have both.
So
Tomb Raider was an amazing game, definitely.
there's alright, looks like Tomb Raider has got starting to pull forth. Alright,
It was
so
amazing. They said they needed to sell 5 million copies. I don't know why. It was a great game.
Tomb Raider was a great game. I loved it. And I did first look of it. I played the entire game while streaming. I may stream it again later. But I think right now,
I think we're good to go, right?
yeah, I think I'm going to do Tomb Raider. But you guys, I think that's one that most people are voting for. Let's see here, Skyrim's got 1, 2 votes. Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Tomb Raider is going to be the one that's going to be going for. This is complete collection. It is all 10 games, like I said, including the new one. You have this is the way it works. If you win it, it's only on PC, of course. I will need to get your Steam information, and if you don't have a Steam account, I'll put my email out there. It's real simple.
Looks like we got a shout out to Baby Pancakes also.
It does.
Yeah. Shout out Baby Pancakes. Yay. There's my email address. Whoever wins this, you're going to need to email me your Steam username, or you can just add me on Steam if you already got your Steam account open. Name on Steam is Tyne Cyanach. Spelt in chat. And I'm going to go ahead and do a roll. Ready? 3, 2, 1, roll. Princess 1214.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, I really like cats. Yeah, I figure out how people are. I usually ask like 50 million questions before they actually get the game. But congratulations to Princess 1214. You are my winner. You can hit me up in Steam right now, or you can actually email me. Either way, and I'll get a hold of you. And you won the Tomb Raider pack. So stay tuned, because when we get to 100 followers, I think we agreed on Lay Rage, we're going to do another giveaway. And then at 150 and then 200. We're going to do it every 50 followers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so every 50 followers there's going to be giveaways. So make sure you hit that follow button. Tell all your friends come check us out, because the giveaways may just get bigger and bigger. You never know. With that being said, though, I think our time is up, Lay Rage. What do you think?
It's up to you gentlemen. It's been so good. If you gentlemen want to end it, end it.
Okay, or we can keep talking. It don't matter to me.
Well, I've got a call to get on, gentlemen.
Alright, so there's one vote for ending it.
We'll miss you all.
I take it, we're leaving you guys.
Real quick, because it is featured on our page. No, they didn't ask to be featured, but Mario Marathon is a Child's Play marathon event. These guys are great. I have been watching them for 4 years now, and it is a week and a half or a week until the start of Mario Marathon 6. And what this is they played nothing but Mario games for as long as they possibly can. It's like 72 plus hours. I think last year it was almost a week. I don't know if they're going to do that again this year. And they raise money for Child's Play charity. All the money goes to Child's Play. They do not even see a dime of it. What happens was when you donate the money, it goes straight to Child's Play. Child's Play informs these guys that you've made a donation. It's almost instant because it's all electronic. And then it pops up, and they're really cool layout. I wish I could do some of the stuff that they do with the graphics and stuff, because like when someone makes a donation, Mario will walk out on stream, or at least they did last year. They said they're changing it up some this year, but he used to walk out on screen and hit the coin box, and it would say your name above the coin box instead of a coin popping out. And they always do cool shoutouts. They do little tests and stuff, like if you donate something in like a certain amount of money and you request them to use the big Nintendo controller, they have this huge Nintendo controller that they'll play a level on with that. They'll dress up like Mario and Luigi. They do all sorts of fun stuff. It's a great time. I will be watching it. But they did give us a shout out during their test stream the other night, so very cool. So I want to give a shout out to them. And until next time, you guys keep gaming on.
Gentlemen, you want to say goodnight?
Good night.
I already said we'll miss them. We will. I will miss every single one of these people.
We'll be back later on this week, I believe.
Yep.
All night, 9 p.m.
If not sooner, because I'll still be playing that other game.
Yeah.
Okay. Good night, everybody. This is Lady Rage signing off.